Some of you parlay guys and box score watchers need to take a step back and appreciate some of the beauty of basketball. Because if you looked at these two stat lines, you'd assume these games are nearly identical. That couldn't be further from the truth, and life's all good when you're hitting the game winner, but how about when you're having it hit in your grill? How do you respond in the next game? Well, if you're Cason Wallace, it's in all the right ways, but you gotta pay attention to some details on the tape. Here's Cason's first start in the playoffs and his first touch of the ball. And what you'll notice on this drive is he's not really paying attention to the hoop much. Now, kicking it out to Dort's not some terrible play, but you can see there's a lack of aggression with that first touch. The other thing to consider is that the Pacers want to hide Halliburton defensively, and if Cason provides a spot for him to be hidden, that's going to be an issue going forward. So let's fast forward about 72 hours to his first touch on the first play of game 2. Cason's immediately aggressive getting downhill on Halliburton and finishes his tough bucket right in his chest. The Thunder were having Cason set some ghost screens in game 1 to bring Halliburton into the action, but Halliburton is just hedging and getting back because they would prefer Nembhard to Halliburton guarding SGA. But in game 1, Cason exits to Shea's right and just kind of makes it easy on the defense, and then he ends up missing this 3. Once again, not a terrible play, not a bad look, but it could be better. Fast forward to game 2 and almost the exact same situation. Halliburton commits to this hedge. Instead of just floating to the right, Cason stays put and gets both hands up. SGA splits Nembhard and Halliburton with this bounce pass, and then Cason's able to turn around and knock down this floater in the middle of the floor. With the Thunder going with a small lineup but still switching, it's really important that Cason's able to guard Siakam if they switch. And that involves a lot of fronting and then relying on some help defense. I'll show you this next clip from game 1 and how he corrected it in game 2, but if you love basketball and this kind of content, give me a follow if you have a second. So you can see the switch already happened on this play, and then Cason's stuck on Siakam down low, but when he goes to front him, he doesn't completely front him, he kind of fronts him to the side, and Halliburton's a great passer, so he's able to throw it to that far hand, and Siakam gets an easy bucket. But Cason watched some tape and came out eager to prove he could stay in the starting lineup. In game 2, after switching the screen, Cason makes sure to stay in front, and there's no entry pass for either McConnell or Miles. So the Pacers kind of end up swinging the ball around the arc, and then it ends up with this fading Mathurin elbow jumper. And none of that shows up in the stat sheet, but he does end up with this board, so that counts.